Hi friends, it's Dana here. I have a really fun book for you today. It is called Extra Yarn, and it is a really good book for me because I have a secret for you. I have a lot of extra yarn. Look at all of that. Oh my goodness. I do something called making baby hats for little babies. This one here is for, let's see. Oh, here. This one is a newborn baby hat size. Isn't that fun? And I also have some for a little bit older babies like this. And then for itty bitty preemie babies like this. It's so small. And what I do is I make baby hats for all sorts of people, but I use my extra yarn to make more baby hats for more people. I send these to the hospitals for all the babies that are born there. And that is how I use my extra yarn. Let's find out how the little girl in this book uses hers. Is called Extra Yarn by Barnett and illustrated by Klassen. Here we go. On a cold afternoon in a cold little town where everywhere you looked was either the white of snow or the black of soot from chimneys, Annabelle found a box filled with the yarn of every color. So she went home and knit herself a sweater. And when Annabelle was done, she had some extra yarn. So she knit a sweater for Mars too, but there was still extra yarn. And when Annabelle and Mars went for a walk, Nate pointed and laughed and said, "You two look ridiculous." "You're just jealous," said Annabelle. "No, I'm not," said Nate. But it turned out he was. And even after she'd made a sweater for Nate and his dog, and for herself and for Mars, she still had extra yarn. At school, Annabelle's classmates could not stop talking about her sweater. "Quiet," shouted Mr. Norman. "Quiet, everyone. Annabelle, that sweater of yours is a terrible distraction. I cannot teach with everyone turning around to look at you." "Impossible. Then I'll knit one for everyone," Annabelle said, "so they won't have to turn around." "Impossible," said Mr. Norman. "You can't." But it turned out she could. And she did, even for Mr. Norman. And when she was done, Annabelle still had extra yarn. This page is funny because they're all connected. So she knit sweaters for her mom and dad, and for Mr. Pendleton and Mrs. Pendleton, and for Dr. Palmer, and for little Louie. She made sweaters for everyone except Mr. Crabtree, who never wore sweaters or even long pants, and who would stand in his shorts with the snow up to his knees. "No sweater for me, thanks," said Mr. Crabtree. So she made Mr. Crabtree a hat, and even then, Annabelle still had extra yarn. She made sweaters for all the dogs and all the cats and all the other animals too. Soon, people thought, Annabelle would run out of yarn. So Annabelle made sweaters for things that didn't even wear sweaters. That is fun. Things began to change in that little old town. News spread of this remarkable girl who never ran out of yarn, and people came to visit from around the world to see all the sweaters and to shake Annabelle's hand. One day, an archduke who was very fond of clothes sailed across the sea and demanded to see Annabelle. "Little girl," said the archduke, "I would like to buy that miraculous box of yarn and I am willing to offer you $1 million. No, thank you, said Annabelle, who was knitting a sweater for a pickup truck. The Archduke's mustache twitched. $2 million, he said. Annabelle shook her head. No, thanks. $10 million, shouted the Archduke. Take it or leave it. Leave it, said Annabelle. I won't sell the yarn. And she didn't. So that night, the Archduke hired 3 robbers to break into Annabelle's house. And they stole the box and took it to the Archduke, who set off across the snow and sailed over the sea. Back to his castle. The Archduke put on his favorite song and sat in his best chair. Then he took out the box and he lifted its lid and he looked inside. His mustache quivered. It shivered, it trembled. The Archduke hurled the box out the window and shouted, "Little girl, I curse you with my family's curse. You will never be happy again." But it turned out she was. The end. All right, friends, this book has inspired me to knit more than just hats. I think I need to knit some sweaters for things like this book, or maybe my dog. You tell me what you think I should knit a sweater or a cozy thing for, and I will do it. All right, thank you so much for reading this fun book with me. I hope you have a great day. Bye.